Apparently, people say that UK job market isn't that great. What are your thoughts about it?
It is very competitive. That you're learning salsa, you're doing coding, you're doing everything.
But I think that's the best thing about UK because you get to pack so many things and you get to choose what you want to do. You are studying here on a fully funded scholarship.
Yeah.
Then walk us through your experience. How did you apply? Where did you get to know about the English and everything?
I was just telling my stories from Bihar to them, and they had so many follow-up questions, and I was like, okay, I can share. This is my story. I know this.
You come from a very, very, very different background. Like to a business school, you come from a very different background. Was it hard to make friends?
In today's video, I have Harsha with me. She comes from a small town in Bihar called Ara. Her parents used to work in social development space in India. She then went on to study in St. Stephen's in India, then worked in the social space in India, then got a fully funded scholarship to study in University of Oxford, and now has already secured an internship in London. In today's video, we will talk about how she got all these opportunities, what you can do to add to your profile to get all these opportunities, and what are people doing wrong, and everything that you need to know about UK. So without further ado, let's directly jump into it. Harsha's family always focused on education, and if you watch this video till the end, I promise that you will think that these opportunities are definitely possible for you as well. So make sure to hit the like button and subscribe button and watch the video till the end. See you at the end.
Actually, but why did you actually choose UK?
I think for me, UK depended on a lot of factors. I think one was just the fact that what specialization I wanted to do, and I was very sure that I wanted to be in the impact space. UK has some incredible universities where the kind of curriculum you get and the kind of network you get to make in this sector is unparalleled. So that was one big factor. I was also very sure I wanted to do the MBA only for a year because I was not making any big pivots with my career. So I thought that, okay, I already have 5 to 6 years of experience. How can I now get the right kind of upskilling and move towards, move towards the leadership position in this sector? So 1 year made a lot more sense to me. In UK, most of the at least MBAs, they are all-year programs. Um, Third was just value for money because I feel like compared to some of the other universities, it has a better value.
UK in general.
UK in general, like all the universities. And the fourth one is actually a personal, I would say, personal point which a lot of people do not think about. But I feel like there's a lot more familiarity in UK. Like at least it was for me, like my friends and family, and know people here. When you come here, you find that diversity, inclusivity so much, and that helped me settle in quite a lot.
I feel like I've said this story multiple times. I don't feel away from home many times because I was in a tube once in London and I got lost and I was talking to my mother and I go like, माँ मुझे लगता है मैं गलत ट्रेन में चढ़ गया. This is a person from background. भाई कहाँ जा रहे हैं आप? I was like, bro, I was thinking in Hindi.
That's so true. I mean, I feel like get those I get those moments all the time in UK. I'm like, am I here? Like, you're all like my people. It's just so nice. Yeah. So that warmth is very hard in UK.
Were you looking at any other country also, or were you specific to UK?
I not really actually. I was only looking at UK and India back home. And one of the reasons I chose UK was because the kind of again the curriculum it had in the impact space was a lot more, I think, advanced than whatever was happening. So for me, the choices really were between India and UK for MBA. India because again, value for money, it's closer home. Um, However, because I come from impact space, I was very keen on learning about some new ideas in this space, right? So more ideas about sustainable investing, for example, or impact investing. Um, these were areas which I think is so much more mature here in UK. There's already so much, there's so many conversations happening here. The kind of things people are working on, it's beyond ideation, it's in practice. So for me, UK, for that matter, became like a very clear choice. For example, I come from Oxford, right? And the kind of classes we have, my best 2 days were the Impact Your West in boot camp. And that honestly told me so much about that practice. And now I'm making the choice of moving into that space. So I feel that was such a big game changer for me. Similarly, the kind of papers we have, like one of them is we did global opportunities and like chat. It's called GoDo, right?
And I ran away from it. But you know what? Yes, I said, go.
But it's amazing because you literally apply systems thinking to some of the most complex problems out there, and very few B schools I would say would like bring that. And I think it's because it's situated here, which is an impact capital as well.
I thought about it. I was thinking, what is the difference between UK studies and India studies? I was able to find a lot of differences, honestly. But then I was like, let's look deep into it. Goto was actually one thing that came to my mind because in Goto, we actually had a real world problem.
Yeah.
And the problem statement was very simple. How can we give more loans to Global South? Simple problem. नाइजीरिया वगैरह कंट्रीज को कैसे लोन दिए जाएंगे अच्छे इंटरेस्ट रेट पे बट द सोल्यूशन इज सो कॉम्प्लेक्स हाउ डू यू डू इट
It's no complex.
I was in this class where Max says something. Max is like, we can do this. The professor, no, we can't do that. And like, it's so frustrating. We can't do that.
Exactly. And I feel like the fact that Max, who's let's say from America, who's coming from X sector, came in and gave his view. And there's someone who is, let's say, Jips, who's leading the World Bank in Nigeria. Yeah, she's leading that account. So she comes in and she says, you know what, like this is not gonna fly in the global south, right? That kind of diversity, the kind of perspectives that came in and what came out of that, you were part of that class. I mean, it's truly unparalleled.
I wasn't actually part of that class, but I attended the classes.
Oh, yeah. I'll give you a download. It's very fun class to be.
I know, but it was sometimes so frustrating just to see like people to break each other's head. Like, Jose once was like, what do I do?
And no, it just, yeah. And I feel like it's a lot more complex and frustrating to be in this space and solve for it. So, yeah.
Okay, coming to the point where you talked about like what's your plan after this? And as you did not mention, but I want to mention, you already secured an internship.
Yes.
So how hard was it in general? Apparently people say that UK job market isn't that great. What are your thoughts about it?
It is very competitive to be right now to secure any job. I think it's also not the best time to pivot. I think it's better to sort of be in the space,
$5 what?
double down on what you know and what you have. Um, for for my internship experience, I think what helped was really getting, I think technical upskilling goes a long way, and that's a big differentiator, right? I also feel like if you get the opportunity, just use your time to secure any kind of relevant experience in the space, wherever. Like if you want to, like, let's say, work in the sustainability space and you're getting to work with, let's say, an early stage, whatever company that's starting to work on climate solutions, just offer your services and be there because that counts for so much more. I also feel like increasingly employers are also looking for people who have their own theory of change and who have their fundamentals right, like their first,
Sustainability issue.
not just sustainability, whatever space you're going in, like you understand the first principles really well, right?
What-
You very keen what is about, yeah, and you bring in your own perspective and you are able to drive that conversation because that's what I think they're looking for, and that becomes like a big differentiator, especially in a market this competitive. Yeah.
But don't you feel like in general all the markets are very competitive? Like what isn't? Can you compare it to the Indian market?
I think you would know better. How does that look? I'm not too sure actually about that. How does it compare to US market, UK market?
Let's first of all talk in terms of money. Is there any comparison? Indian money and UK money?
No, not really. No. I mean, I feel like right now the way the market is, um, I think in UK generally the way it works is that you get a lot, you get promotions quickly, and you increase your income and salary quite quickly, like
in UK.
in UK. I think that is what is like, I think the big difference between India and UK. So maybe you're earning 35 lakhs in India, and here that would mean maybe 60,000 pounds. But in a year or so, it's going to turn into 75 and then 90. And that,
Your
but
base is already really high, so the promotions that you get are on your base.
yeah. So it's just going to move a lot more quicker. Your career is going to, like, I think, progress a lot more faster here in UK compared to back in India.
But I also feel like looking at my friends, many people were able to secure internships. Like
Here in UK,
in UK. Like so I sometimes feel like anyone who's giving it 100% is able to do it. What do you think about that?
100%. I feel like there are a lot of good opportunities, and if you're in UK, if you're in a good university, you already are there on, like, an employer will look at you and they will stop for a minute and like, I'm going to give this person a chance, right? And if you're able to see it through, given all the things that I'm talking about, get relevant experience, do the right kind of technical upskilling, network very meaningful.
That was my next question. How important was networking for you?
For my internship, I think, um, hmm, I don't think a lot though, because it was a very structured process.
I know
I got.
I love your writing.
Yeah, because I got my internship through a very structured process, but that was incredibly competitive. There was like literally one person got like selected in the impact practice, right? And there were a lot many applicants. So structured interviews and structured, I think, internship is a different ball game altogether. And their networking plays a very minimal role. But I feel like a whole host of opportunities exist outside that, because someone mentioned this to me, and that's so true, that real life doesn't have structured internships. Like, you have to really network your way through it. And that's happening. Like, I know people who, I'm part of the Impact OBN here, like, which is a social impact club basically. I co-chaired it with a couple of people, and we did like a summit which was focused on, like, on space. And we called some incredible people who are decision makers from different spaces. And we called the students who are interested in. And the facilitation that happened, and we sort of met up for the networking drink. Two people got an internship opportunity from that, from that room. And that had some, yeah. And that happened because you're bringing together people who have similar interests and passion, and these people are, so they came on a Saturday for a talk, right? They clearly care about this space. They want to know about that space, and employers can see that because
Movie stocks and all are really important, you say.
I do think, especially if you want to again like build that expertise, which is so important today in the market. You have to show up, go everywhere, talk to people, and like learn about yeah, about whatever you want to learn about.
With that said, with the optimism that you have, if you had to give one career advice for someone who is planning to come to UK next year, what would that career advice be? Resume importance or anything which you feel like they should know. Like, go back. Harsha is watching this video in 2014, planning to come to Oxford or any other university. What do you tell Harsha?
So this is by MBA specific though, but I feel like it's a 1 year program, which is generally a master's program in UK. It's a short time. Um, and I feel like if I would have gone back like 1 year, I would have used the summer to sort of really reflect, sit back, and really think how I want to intentionally use my next year. And do that homework before coming here. Because once you are here, you have to figure out everything pretty quickly, along with a lot many other transitions in your life. For example, I've been working for 6 years or 5 years, and now I'm getting back into academics. That's a big shift for me. I'm shifting country. This is the first time I've come to UK. Um, it's the only ever like second country I've ever visited. So it was a big shift for me. So I feel like you do get lost at times within those shifts. So I think the first thing I would say is just do your homework really well. You have very limited time. How do you want to make the most of this year? Really be intentional with your time.
Can you walk me through a bit of homework that you were going to do?
something like electives, right? I feel like I did not do my homework in understanding what the course objectives were in all of these electives.
So going through like, okay, this is what I'm going to study next year,
This is what my 1 year customized program looks like.
and this is what I should be studying.
Yeah.
This is what I should
This is
sing on.
getting it vetted by the alums that, oh, is this a good course for me? For example, like again going back to boot camp, my alums told
So just to give it context, when you're planning, because someone who was 1 year before doesn't even think about these things. But when you're coming to UK for a course, you get to choose what you want to study.
yeah,
Even if you're doing masters in something, you get to choose like, I want to do this subject, this subject, this subject.
and that's the most beautiful part of it. Like you get to choose.
So what Harsha is right now trying to say is, be very specific and do your homework. What are you going to study and which one to choose by after talking to Alibs? That's actually very important.
Yeah, I think have a very solid idea about what your 1 year journey is going to look like. What are the areas you really want to build the skills in, because it's a short time. You will have a lot of conflicting things going around. So you have to be intentional with it.
But it's also one of the best experiences.
100%. This is the most wonderful year of my life. I know that.
We were out yesterday. I was out till 1.
I was until 4. But no, I mean, honestly, I think it has everything. Where else? I mean, going back to what Jivs was saying, right? Like, where else would you be in a room with someone who's like Achyut, who has worked with farmers in Nepal and is doing brilliant stuff, bringing in private capital lets, right? Or then someone who's working in government, or someone who's working in, I don't know, like with NGOs or wherever, like Wall Street. I don't know, like it's just so.
Now that you make me think about it, it's so crazy. And like, what we do in a day. Like, imagine yesterday itself.
Oh my God, yeah.
Like, it started with an entire day at Impact Lab, then the dinner at Impact Lab, and then we go for a party. Goes on like Latin party.
I know.
I don't give a they go arriba. I did not papi. I don't know anything in Spanish. And then someone said, "Oh, you're going to Latin?" Like, see, what? He's like, till 4? You 4. I was just 1.
I think for me, the most insane week in UK was we got matriculated, which is basically where you become officially like a part of Oxford
That's
University.
why audience already knows. But can I say this?
Fancy or big. Oh my God, cut that puppy. That's not a privilege now. Okay. Yeah, but matriculation happened that week. Then I saw Northern Lights in my.
I was there. Do you go to
I remember now, you were there.
we get photos together. We thought that we won't see Northern Lights. I don't know if we were about to eat and then take
I was like, exactly. And so that happened.
and then horses keep on going and go.
God, it was the most it's Narnia. And then I saw Emma Watson. And I was like, what is this life? What is happening?
So whenever I first seen Emma Watson, it's just she's hiding from me.
Oh my God, yeah. But it's just like one of those weird, wild weeks you have. And you see your calendar one day, you'll be like, there are all range of stuff that you're doing here. You're learning salsa, you're doing coding, you're doing everything.
But I think that's the best thing about UK because you get to pack so many things and you get to choose what you want to
Yeah.
do. Like I was running today to get you because like there's so many things going on.
Yeah.
So
You're going to South Africa, right?
okay, yeah, so our university is sending us to South Africa. We miss you.
Which is brilliant.
Do you apply for South Africa?
I did not actually. So I actually did not.
Now in retrospect,
I would have.
see that's when you think about electives very well.
Exactly. Exactly that. Which is
Okay, NBA Olympics. There's something called NBA Olympics, wherein MBAs from all the top universities of the world come in France. It's Oxford, Cambridge, and then you also have HEC,
HEC. I think
like all the
yeah, like all of them.
and then they come and have Olympics, different sports, and Oxford usually wins, except for the last year.
And yeah, and there's like tons of range of activities you can do. You can dance, you can like do all sorts of like sports.
This fancy dress competition also.
I don't think it's called fancy dress. It's a fashion show. I love that.
Yeah, neither fashion shows.
Yeah, it's like it's also battle of bands, a lot of like creative and sports.
I don't think we keep that to everyone, but they keep fancy dress competition. Confidence I have saying it absolutely. Okay, coming to more serious topic. You are studying here on a fully funding scholarship.
Yeah, insane.
Walk us through your experience. How did you apply? Where did you get to know about the information? Everything.
Right. So there are a lot of scholarship that universities provide, and for me, I think in general that's the best bet. Like go to the university that you are applying to, and look for what kind of intern scholarships they give. Some of them, you're considered along with the application, but some of them had additional scholarship like application component to it. So for Oxford, there were a couple of scholarship applications that were additional. I think at first, um, my my approach was that I need to get select the right scholarship for me, right? Which is to say that my background, my values, my skill set, are they looking for that or not, right? Because I feel like the profile fitment is really the key to securing some of these scholarships. Um, so I come from working in the impact space, and I also come from middle class family, and I needed that financial support as well. So I looked for a need plus merit based scholarship, which was focused on the impact space, and that's how I sort of shortlisted my applications and I applied for them. Uh, Mostly the questions that were there in the application was around um, how do you, for example, the scholarship that I ended up getting is lead law scholarship, and it's focused on women leaders or women who have potential to lead, um, and who are also doing something to break glass ceilings and to bring gender equality, right? And that's so the first question was really about how have we done that? Like, tell us about um, your experiences, and second was on funding. Like, why do you fund funding? It was name based, right?
Did you apply for other scholarships other than this?
I did. There was another scholarship called WHT Weidenman Hoffman Biden.
Oh, yeah, scholarship. I remember that scholarship.
It's a wordy long name, but yeah, that's the one that I applied to. I got waitlisted for that after the interview. Um, but that's so there are a couple of so there could be like internships that are only MBA focused, and there are some internships that are like university wide,
Did
right?
you apply for any of those?
So WSG was university wide, so it's a lot more competitive.
Did you apply for other scholarships?
No, I only apply for these.
How intensive were you with your scholarships? Like, how much time did you take to apply for the scholarships?
Um,
How much efforts?
I think I think time factor does not really come in with that much. I think it's the effort and I think how meaningfully you are able to curate those applications. What I did was I really talked to the past scholars.
And I think that's the biggest advice because these people, yeah, got gone through.
Yeah.
These people know everything.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I applied for Impact Lab the first time. I was like super rejected. Then I talked to you,
Yeah.
and then I at least got the interview, which I didn't attend because I was,
You didn't attempt? Wow, interesting. Okay.
yeah, I messed up there. But at least I got till that point because of you. So I feel like it's a game changer talking to people.
Yeah.
Kavya was in Howard. So after talking to Kavya, I just feel like, yeah, it's possible to get into Howard. Like otherwise, if you would have asked 1 year, like I would have gone 1 year in the past, even though Oxford like seemed like okay, Howard just felt like it's out of my.
Yeah.
But now it's like What are you?
Oh my God. I know. I think self-rejection it's so common. And I feel like that's been my biggest learning this past year. That don't do that. Don't self-reject. Just apply. It's
I have like one more thing to say there.
yeah.
People usually say that, but then people just apply. They're putting in the bare minimum. Like,
Okay.
I don't think it's worth it to apply if you're just gonna put in bare minimum. If you're gonna put a prompt on ChatGPT that this the scholarship, give me an answer, and it gives you an answer, and you're like, well, I'll change 2 lines. No, it does not look like AI. I'll upload this. That's not getting you through.
Mm.
So I feel like just applying is not. Yeah, you have to be very intentional.
Very attention. Yeah, 100%. You have to talk to people. You have to also, I mean, you also have to do it for yourself. Like, is this the right program? You're investing 1 year of your life.
People forget that.
Yeah.
People just look at the money component, scholarship component. They tend to forget that this is an entire 1 year of your life that you're going to invest. You want to do that for this thing.
Yeah.
So that's
So, I also feel like people should think about their careers in decades, right? Like, okay, what is this decade about? What do I want to do? How will then this skill set help me with like whatever the my step, right? And I feel like, yeah, I mean, you need to like put yourself sort of in that space and think about it. Like, does it fit into my career trajectory of that view? And if that it does, then only make the call. So when I say just apply, I mean believe in yourself, put in the work, and then apply. And yeah, that of course.
a very interesting question. I am pretty sure I've not thought about it. Okay. But I feel like this is my personal observation. Okay. You usually get through things very easily.
Me.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oxford done. Biggest scholarship received. A backlab done. Internship done. So my opinion is you're very good at interviews.
Mm. Good. I mean, yeah, could be.
What are you doing which you feel like is there a secret thing that you're doing?
Hmm.
And guys, the kind of things that I'm talking about, it's like one in 100 or 1,000 opportunities that this girl has got.
Oh my God. Okay,
What do you think about Laidlaw scholarship?
I know
Oxford.
personality, but
So like, what are you doing? There's something that you're doing.
I'll actually talk about Laidlaw because it was my best interview till later. I feel like once I put down the phone, I was like happy. I was satisfied. I was like, even if this does not convert, I think I gave my 100%. Right. I have couple of actually tips there because it's something I struggle with a lot as well. I feel like so I do before my call, I always take like 5 minutes before the call just to calm myself down, do power poses.
As power pose, quick power.
Like you have to make yourself large. You said yes. You have to make yourself large to think that you deserve this space. I know it sounds. I don't know if it works for me, right? And you also I do a lot of affirmative
Talk to yourself.
to myself that
You got this.
this is just you got this. These are just like people, and they just genuinely want to know you, which is the case, honestly. And I love that about UK in general. Honestly, people they come in to select you, not to reject you, right? So they come in with like, oh, we really want to know you, and when they create that environment, you want to put your best foot forward.
That is why it's sometimes very hard to get interviews because they really want to select you. They're not in the process of rejecting you.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's actually, see, in honesty, you've got these opportunities. I wouldn't even doubt any of these. I will start using them.
Yeah, I feel it really helps me. I think everyone has their own process, but I do that. I do affirmative works quite a lot. I do power poses quite a lot. And when I enter, again, smile, maintaining eye contact. I think coming off as a genuine and authentic person is what the other person is trying to sort of like really gauge at. So, for example, late law, it was a panel interview. There were like some 4 to 5 people there, right? Um, and the conversation started, and I felt myself ease into it when I started being very
Vulnerable.
vulnerable, very authentic. And they really latched on to that. They actually liked that about me, right? I feel that I mean, I think people talk about being authentic quite a lot, and it has started to sound very fake, yeah, fake at this point. But the idea is that okay, bring your passion, bring your real self into the interview, and it will come across. And I feel like that's my biggest advice, because that's what I follow. I always smile. I'm always very. I
Why does make sure you are as a person? Like, not to butter you, but that is also who you are as a person.
which is why like it's also again being myself in the interview, and you bring that I like to be myself. My Oxford interview actually ended with the guy, and this was like a Barclays guy with 40 years of experience, very different from my space, and I was like initially intimidated. The whole interview happened, and at last he says, you know, because when I introduced myself, I said my name is Harsha, and he had trouble pronouncing it, and it was like, oh, it means happiness. That's what I said. And towards the end, he's like, you know what, your parents have really named you very correctly. You are very happy as a person. So yeah,
I had one observation. Uh, is it also because people would want to see a person like you around there? Like,
I think likability is a big factor, 100%. You don't want to come across as someone who knows everything or who's not open to change. In fact, I want to talk about that because I feel like in all the interviews, from my Oxford to Laidlaw to the internship, this was definitely a question. People want someone who's able to challenge their own biases and who's open to, who's like, you know, there's a strong receptivity towards different opinion.
yeah, so if someone says, "Oh, you should do that," how do you respond?
Yeah. And oh, why do they think that I should do that, right? Trying to think from their perspective is so important. And I think
You'll ask questions.
yeah, I will ask question that, oh, for example, like I feel that I come from an impact space. I'm in a B school, right? I feel constantly challenged about my own ideas all the time. And yeah, it just helps to go back and question your own assumptions as well, that why do I think that way? Maybe like there's some truth to that. And then to probe, you'll do it and question it and really try to understand the other person's perspective, right? And that's a quality most of the employers today they want. It's a soft skill, and they do want that because you will always be working in a very diverse setup now more than ever, right? So I mean, some very practical advices really. Like, for example, when you're talking to your like people who already are scholars, know what kind of questions they had, and sort of prep a little bit. Prepping is important. Just
You like have the sort of questions that previous court members were asked for later.
yeah, I made sure that I'm very
That's very important.
diligent with.
And were those the similar questions that were asked to you? Like on the same.
Actually, I feel it was very profile dependent. The questions, it was very conversational because there were so many people. So I was like, oh, I have worked with government when I was 21. And someone is like, how was that working in India when you were 21 as a female working in government space, right? So it was very, very profile tailored.
You could bring your authentic side to that interview because it's like
Exactly.
it's a very specific question.
It was, yeah, I mean, I think that helps quite a lot. Um, sharing your own story. For example, I'm from Bihar in India. Both of my parents come from welfare space. And I was just telling my stories from Bihar to them, and they they had so many follow-up questions. And I was like, okay, I can share. This is my story. I know this. So, but like there are also some template questions that will get asked, right? Like in
You already have a
like but if you're like applying for a master's in UK, why do you want to do that? Why UK? What is your big goal in life? What is your midterm goal? Whatever. Like some of those template questions will very much be there. And I felt like when I was prepping for my MBA, it was such an amazing exercise because I actually got to do that career trajectory thing. I was like, oh, why am I?
where are you doing it and it actually very yes it. Okay, I do one thing. Tell me what do you think about it? I have like themes that I want to talk about. Like if I'm going for an interview and I know that I've talked to the previous people that these were the things that they were asked for and this is what they do. So I'll have like 10 things I want this person to know.
Yeah.
So if this person asks me anything,
Yeah.
I have those 10 knives with me. I'll throw the one whichever suits the closest to it.
Yeah.
And then I'll be like, oh, you asked me that. So, and you know what? This.
Yeah.
And I will try to make sure that these 10 things which I want the other person to know, I end up telling
Yes.
10 things. Do you also do something like that?
100%. I think I do two things really well. One is having a story bank, right? You like, because as I said, there are like a lot of competency based questions.
Yeah, so these 10 are 10 stories.
Exactly. These are 10 stories and it's in a star format, which is basically that you have to have the situation and task and action and result. Uh, it needs to be there in your mind, like, oh, when were you resilient, when did you solve a problem, and these are real stories. It's just a time for you to bring it all together so that you're able to really articulate it to the other person.
But I feel like you should at least write them down once or like have it somewhere that these are the 10 stories that happened in your life.
Yeah.
So what I did was one that, oh, I had a problem and conflict with my partner in my first startup.
Yeah.
The other, like really raw stories, which I happened with you. Like, this is what happened in my family. But when you ask spot, you're like, iska kya de-"
Exactly. No, you have to do that. It's so important. And I feel like you also need to have a soundboard for that. Like, talk to your friends.
Soundboard.
Talk, for example, I have 10 stories. I can talk to you about it and see how do you feel about it. Like, is it coming across in the right way that I want to? Like,
Wow.
so I think just having a soundboard, and that could be anyone, your friend, your mentor, whatever. I think that also is very, very helpful before any interview. So, and I think story bank being one of the things, and second being exactly that. I know there's certain highlights in my profile. I know that things that I've worked with Nari Gunjan or I've worked with Teach for India, and that has my heart and soul, and I've worked on ground, and I want that to come across. I don't want that to be lost in the conversation.
Talking about that, do you try to set yourself apart in interviews or you don't actively try to do that? Because there's this general thing people say, oh, set yourself apart from the people in your cohort.
I'm not too sure about that, honestly. I think it goes back to if you're talking about your specific story,
You're automatically setting yourself apart.
yeah, honestly. And also, I feel like I might not be a very good fit for this question because I have been very regimental with my career choices in a way, in a sense that, as I said, I applied for Laidlaw because I was a fit for that. I knew it. When I was reading the testimonials of other scholars, I could see myself in that. If I do something which is very out of character for me or very out of my own story, whatever, I think that's when I maybe have to do that. But yeah, I'm very intentional about the choices I've made. So I don't have to. I don't think I do that.
Yeah. You come from a very, very, very different background. Like to a business school, you come from a very different background. Was it hard to make friends?
No.
No.
Because people are people everywhere. That's one. But second, I think it's also because my experiences shaped a lot by the B school that I am part of, which is Oxford. And Oxford stands from impact from within. It was one of the reasons I came here because I always thought I would be like an on one out in a room full of like MBA candidates. But I don't feel like that here because even when we did business finance and we were doing discounting, we actually studied how discounting is helpful for how we use that for climate, climate-based decisions. We did that actually. It to say it was this. This was the launch week session, Howard took it. But I mean, just to bring the point that I don't feel I'm a misfit here, right? So it was easy for me to settle down and make friends. I have so many people, even if they're working in pure private sector background, I know they come with the intention of converging purpose and profit. And for me, that's a big, big thing. So yeah, I mean, I think that resonates well with me. And also curiosity. Just think about it. We had like 350 people and so many nationalities. I think 97% of the people are like outside of UK. You had people coming from like 60 plus countries. So the curiosity to just know about their culture, know about them, will automatically also drag you to like wow if your comfort zone and track up those conversations.
Is there anything which you were like, I wasn't expecting this out of UK. Good, bad.
Um, I think when I came to UK first, I was um
Focused, narrow-minded.
very narrow-minded in a way, actually. Tunnel visioned, which is to say that I wanted to come here, get my upskilling, go back to India, and do what I love doing.
Oh, wow.
And there's a lot of merit to it because I am very much committed to working in an emerging economy on like a
You want to go back to India?
oh yeah,
Nice.
in the long term, still yes, right? But when I came, I was like, 1 year program, fully funded. Let me just get the right kind of skill sets, meet the right kind of people, and I want to take that back to India. Like that's how I looked at it. Uh, but I think this surprised me quite a lot because I feel like UK became home somewhere,
What? Nice.
and now I'm like so much more, yeah, willing to stay and
I didn't expect anyone else to say this.
yeah.
But I am like, I had my entire life planned. Oxford just happened out of nowhere for me.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
It just happened out of nowhere for me. And I had this thing in mind, okay, 1 year, I won't even take the posted work visa because why do we need the posted work visa?
and now
Now, like, wait a second, I just take the visa. I'm so sure I'm never going to work for someone else. Like, so sure, I'm going to continue with my business. This is what I'm doing. I just finished my resume 2 days ago. I'm like, let's apply. Like, let's see what are the options that open up.
God, yes.
Like, I didn't expect anyone else to be with us, very strong mind, okay, but did something changed. I don't know what.
Change. It's like, let's see. Let's see. I mean, it's just such a beautiful country. It has so much to offer. It's such a beautiful blend of modern and history. I'm also a history student, by the way. So I'm like,
You're a history student.
I'm a history student. Yeah, I did history in from Saint Stephen's College back in India.
You know, my favorite thing about you, okay, it won't be the history. It's like, it's so centrally located. City.
There's oh my god, I could just like if the visa thing gets sorted or like because that's a thing, but other
If you get a Schengen visa,
just go wherever. You just go wherever, like 20 pounds.
20 pounds, right? That is so crazy.
I know. Didn't you just go to Morocco in like 11 pounds?
Yeah. No, not 11, 31 pounds. So, return flight ticket for 31 pounds.
So serious Morocco is in another continent. Okay, so yeah,
Up flight away.
I know. So no, 100% that. Also, like, oh my god, like the art and culture in this country, you have
Not a big bag.
okay. Like I am so I'm not I'm trying to I think cultivate that, but yeah, I think it just has so much to offer. I feel like if I go back right now, it's gonna be touch and go. And I don't wanna do that. I wanna be here and like and I also feel, and it's so true. For example, if you look at sustainability as a space, back in India, it's not a very well funded space because you have so many other immediate problems to solve for, right? So the funding goes to big, like mostly to health, education, healthcare, on a, but here, sustainability is so mature as an ecosystem. It's growing constantly. So if you're able to work here in this space and then take this back, because that's where the economy will eventually,
Yeah, the idea is it has to come.
yeah. So once it go, you are able to emulate that mature model back in India, right? So for that, you need to get experience here and, and then go back. I think makes a lot of sense in my hand.
I feel like, did UK in general add any confidence or yet? It has been seen.
No, I feel like as a brown person um who's the first person in her family to come to UK, stay here, build an entire new life here, of course it added a lot of confidence. I think it taught me resilience. It made me believe that I can do it. Like, I think that's the softer side of it, but I think it's so incredibly important. But I think I'm a lot more confident because I managed to do this from scratch, like build a community, adjust, adapt. I think all of these are like skills. So I think I'm more confident because of that.
Interest. One key takeaway from Oxford, like, what's the best experience of yours at Oxford? If one key takeaway from UK, what's the best thing that happened to you in UK? Or you can say 2, 3 things. You don't have to just mention one.
I think one is honestly is being in UK. I am of course, I'm a big Potterhead. I'm also like a fan of Regency era. I'm like a Jane Austen book club person. Just being in UK, I still remember the first time I saw Big Ben, and I was like, this was such a postcard moment for me. So I feel like I am still not over that. The just the feeling of just, oh, I'm here and I've made it, and I think that's it's just such a beautiful reminder to myself. I can second is people, just meeting people from so many cultures, and honestly, I do not think I will make such deep adult friendships. It's so entered my life, so I'm also grateful for that. But I think, yeah, those would be the two big ones.
How many people have you, like, can you name out of 350?
Can I name?
Yeah, so if you had, we saw her at the street.
My God,
They like, hey, hey.
I would between 250 to 300 maybe. I can name them for sure.
But like have a conversation with it?
I've if you talk about if I've had a conversation with them, maybe 200.
Yeah, I'm at around 3.
I had lost. I know, but then too.
Like, I just love it when I'm walking on the street. I'm like, hey, hi guys.
I love that.
This one day, I left Saloni's place to come to my place, which is a student. What's that? Student
Castle.
castle. Yeah, student castle to Boosted. 15-minute call. Max. 15 minutes. It's a 10-minute off. Max 15 minutes. Took me 3 hours. I ran into this set of people.
Oh wow.
And they started talking for like 20 minutes. Sir,
You're that friend who gets stalked. Oh God.
no, I stopped myself. Hello, and I'm pretty like, other people like, "Acha, Jana ne is there." I'm like, "Acha, what are you about?"
I love that about you actually. I feel like you also have an energy that's very easy for people to open up to and like connect to. And I'm not surprised at that number. I'm actually surprised you have not touched 350 shit. Okay.
There's like a few people who I'm like, bro, no way you're in the NBA. And like, I can show you 2, 3 people. You can bet your life that they're not in the FPA because they're not at the NBA. They don't come to classes.
Fair.
What are like some of the factory tips that you give to a student who wants to make a network in UK?
Mm. I think talks. Go to talks, go to different workshops, whatever interests you, be present and engage meaningfully. I think networking is one thing, networking meaningfully is completely different ball game. I think second is don't be like you just spoke to them and just you leave those contacts. Follow up. And that follow up could be as easy as, oh, you know what, like you work in this, I don't know, health equity space and I saw this article and I can you really like it and you can just do follow-ups like that. But keep in touch. Be offer your, I think skill sets before you ask for anything in return. I think all of those goes a long way to build a good network.
Back in a very interesting suggestion that just came to be. There are many colleges in UK which don't have a lot of events going on.
Mm.
But I feel like there are some colleges which have so many events going on.
And it's open.
And it's open. Like,
Yeah.
you can walk into any of the Oxford events.
And it's free.
Free food, like,
Every
most importantly, you get to connect.
100%.
And I feel like more than Oxford, Berlin Business School. I feel like they have a big event going on every day.
Oh my God. I went to that Women in Business conference right now. It was so wonderful. And they had more than I think 20 speakers coming in. And
It's like a super amazing college, I think. So I feel like if someone is not able to find opportunities in their college, there are at least 500 events going on in UK. I agree.
everything is so connected. Like London is literally like a 50-minute ride from here, right? You can just go whenever.
Even if you're like in any part of UK, you could go to any other part.
Exactly.
I feel like one networking that you should do is probably with people from other universities.
Mm.
I think Cami has done that for us for LBS education thing.
Yeah.
It just can't details anything related to education, but I feel like if you can do that,
Yeah.
get in touch with someone from LBS, someone from LSE, someone from Oxford, all the colleges that have make a lot of events going on.
And all of these clubs, so we had Sustainability Mixer where LVS, Cambridge, Oxford students and other UK university students who have interest in that came together. I think there were like a couple of other, even like there are a lot of these, you know, mixers on, let's say, people from South Asia come together.
So many. I feel like you need it in.
Yeah.
And that could start with you networking with people from those colleges. One interesting thing happened. There was like a person from Nepal who just randomly came to Oxford. Didn't know anyone. Came inside this business school. And it was like just third or fourth week. So I was like, oh, one more MBA. I started talking to that person. And then he's like, oh, no, I'm not doing the MBA. I'm working here. And I was like, oh, where are you from? He's like, I'm from Nepal. I'm like, wait a minute. Aren't you? On his way back, he got late. He said 12 baj gaye and then there was no train after that. And he's like, can you send me Achut's number? I'm like, bro, itna zyada ho raha hai. But are you sure it?
So I love that he felt that comfortable doing that because that's just what.
But no, I really appreciated that he took the effort to come here.
Yeah.
To network with people and he got meaningful connections.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure if he's in touch with Achut is going to share like all the resources that are going to happen in Oxford. So I think that's a very interesting thing.
Yeah.
What's going to make in your mind that UK does not have any jobs at all?
Yeah. I think when I said that I really wanted to go back to India after my MBA was also because of that. Because I felt like, oh, people are just talking about it. There's literally no jobs in the market right now.
Which is so not true.
Which is so not true. Oh my God. All my friends, all my closest friends, they've already secured an internship.
And it's still like 6 months.
Yeah. Definitely.
Let for the ATA. Yeah, like
There are good jobs. It's just the odds are
stepping it.
trickier.
Trickier. Yes. Because if you're putting in your 100%,
Yeah.
you will get it.
100%.
Yeah, I get it. Final advice for someone who's decided, okay, I'm coming to UK.
Dress in layers. No, what did you right? But no, this is a bigger, right?
Your big one.
That's a big one because it rains and it can snow and it can be like super sunny all in one day.
If I have a better advice, just get a very, very good jacket. One jacket, which is very good. That's what I did. I had like a big jacket. I would wear anything. I could just wear a t-shirt under that. And then have that one big jacket every I feel somehow in India, in Kashmir, we didn't have that. We had to go like year after year after year. But here, if you get one good jacket, invest in a good jacket, well, no, like something professional or something else.
I think I would say come here with a very open mind. Come here and talk to as many people as you can. Connect with as many people as you can. You will never get this kind of diversity in a room. And these will be the connections that's going to last a whole lifetime. You're going to have friends in Colombia. You're going to have friends in Nepal. You're going to have friends in Nigeria. And those connections will last a lot more than whatever you will learn in this 1 year in UK.
Went to South Africa tomorrow, and my itinerary was given by someone who lives in South Africa. Then I'm going to Kenya, and I'm going with people who are from Kenya. So
Those connections will just last a lifetime. And I think you should maximize your time just building and deepening those friendships.
doing all of this. Thank you so much.